Listen to my podcast about sports.
Howdy, Ags. Welcome to the tailgate. Coach, the delivery man. What's up, Corey?
Oh, man, full. Just got back from Roadhouse.
Nice steak.
Oh, it was delicious.
Oh, that is
prime
pretty good.
rib. Oh, boys will be pissed.
Thank you, Roadhouse.
Yes, thank you. Send some money.
Brought to you by Frida Homes, building Aggie dreams, custom home builders with over 15 years of experience in the Brazos Valley. If you're looking for someone that cares about you and the details you care about, contact Frida Homes. Visit them on Instagram at frida.homes or give Justin a call at 979-450-4466. When you call, just remember, everyone loves their Frida Homes. All right. Don't forget, email us at agstailgate@gmail.com if you got some commentary, want us to talk about anything in the podcast, cover anything in particular. Visit us on YouTube, subscribe. Also on Instagram, Spotify. If you want to listen, that's a good source. We've got a new subscriber, Chuck. We're just gonna go with Chuck.
I'll say Chuck. Thanks, Chuck.
Welcome, Chuck, to the podcast. We also had a comment from Pete Flores. I believe he's one of your boys.
He's a smart ass.
He says, start taking some Benadryl before the podcast. I think he's worried about you continuing to go off camera to do bumps.
Yeah, that was pretty bad last week.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll get more of that. Today's football topic, we're going to talk a little bit about the coaching staff. There's been some movement in where the coaches are, so we'll get into some of that. But let's start off with some basketball.
Yep.
Look, Corey, 22-8 now overall. We said they get to 22 wins. They're more than comfortable going into the tournament.
Yeah.
14-3 in the SEC, have clinched at least second in the SEC for the regular season.
Yep.
Big game tonight, Alabama-Auburn. If Auburn can get a win, then we're playing for an SEC championship on Saturday against Alabama at home.
That's money in the bank right there.
Yeah.
I mean, we're playing for the championship. That's money. We got
They might as well just give it to us.
Just give it to us. I don't even know if Alabama needs to show up.
Well, considering their players are maybe getting arrested for murder, there's a chance they don't show up anyway.
Yeah. They got to quit doing the pat downs before the games. You hear about that? No.
Well, I certainly hope they pat him down on the way into arena. I'd be worried about what could happen if they didn't. So all right. So in the last week since we've been on the podcast, we had the loss to Mississippi State on the road. It was 62-69. Just didn't play very well at all.
Scoring droughts, man. We went in scoring droughts big time.
It was like a 13-minute scoring drought.
Something silly
between baskets.
We had
an 8
or 10 point lead at one point, and just like that, it was gone.
The other thing is, 16 turnovers, right? 11 offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
13 points off of turnovers, 12 second chance points, both more than what the Aggies had on the other side.
Yeah.
14 fast break points. And I think another piece here, a lot of fouls. They shot 30 free throws. Normally the Aggies are the team that really kills it on the free throw line.
Right.
Mississippi State actually got more free throws than we did. So on top of that, they didn't shoot well. It just, they were just off their game. Those games are going to happen from time to time.
The one thing that I've noticed with our Aggie team is that we do leave a lot of people open at the three-point line.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. Mississippi State hit some, but they have big guys inside it. 11 offensive rebounds. They get some Tolu Smith, DJ Jeffries. They get the offensive rebounds. We're going to have problems with that.
Yep.
So we got to – that's the same thing happened in the Kentucky game. We lost that one. Kentucky was hitting threes. So I guess Buzz plays the percentages. Hey, this isn't a very good three-point shooting team, which Mississippi State is not. Kentucky's not.
Correct.
They hit them against us, but they're wide open.
And look, I also thought that just defensively they were a little slow in their rotations because we did give up some easy bunnies at the basket and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those games. They didn't have one of their best games, and it's basketball, right? It's gonna happen. Wade scores 21, but he was only 4 of 11 on field goals, right? He did hit 4 of 9 from the three-point line. Not much from Boots.
Right.
Didn't score much. Dennis only had 3 baskets. Overall, nobody really Had a good shooting night at all.
Yeah,
right.
Anderson Garcia played probably the best game of anybody. He had 11 points. And
11 or 13?
I thought it was 11, but he had a bunch of rebounds. He's just a hustler, and that guy takes charges every game.
Oh, yeah.
He's got like 1 or 2 charges a game.
And he's been getting more and more involved in the offense here the last few games, right? I mean, just getting some more opportunities on that. And a lot of those are hustle type baskets and things like that, right? But he shot a 3 and hit a 3 in that game against Mississippi State.
Yeah, don't do that too often, either.
Then they played Ole Miss last night.
Keep those guns in the
Ole Miss was 11-18 going into that game, 3-13 in the conference.
Yeah,
but we were on the road once again, right?
Right.
Ole Miss a lot better at home.
right.
Won 69-61 without having necessarily a great performance from anybody either, right?
It wasn't a pretty game either.
Wasn't pretty.
I mean, what was it? We were down 20-8, I think, at one point. We went on a 14-0 run.
What's up with that? It seems like generally they start off slow, right?
Especially on the road.
Especially on the road.
I don't know. I guess
Even their last few wins on the road, it's had to be a comeback, right?
I'll tell you, that Ole Miss crowd, there wasn't one. Did you see that? That was I was surprised at how quiet it was in there.
Are you surprised when they're 3-14 in conference?
Yeah. I mean, I think that people should show up to the games, and they probably aren't paying anything. It should be free.
Did you watch the Aggies when they were really bad in conference a couple of years ago?
No, they suck. I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll watch it.
One piece of couple of pieces of good news after the game last night. One, they clinched that second spot in the SEC.
Yes.
So that was huge.
Yes.
Gave themselves an opportunity to go into a game against Alabama for the SEC regular season championship.
Yes.
The other good note, Manny's back.
Obaseki. Yes.
Manny, and he had, he played some minutes. Now, Dexter Dennis out.
Knee injury.
Hopefully not long, but we haven't heard.
Haven't heard the extent. Saw him on the bench last night, standing up, walking around. I didn't see a brace, so I don't know how the extent of the injury.
Yeah, he seemed to be moving okay, right? So hopefully it was more of a precautionary thing.
Yeah, I'm sure Buzz was like, "Oh, we're playing Ole Miss, no big deal." Dennis take the day off. Because most of the first team took the day off in the first 5-10 minutes. The second team that came in actually got the spark. Hefner, Obaseki,
Solo, Garcia. Yeah,
That's guys. When the hustle play started coming.
Those guys played pretty well.
They look good
when they got into the game. I thought, and I think, when we started the season, he was playing a bunch of folks. We didn't look very good. Then he shortened that bench quite a bit, and we started to play well with the 5 guys, basically. I mean, only really Gordon coming off the bench almost. And as the season's gone on, some of those guys that are new to the team, also, the Solos, the Garcias, right? Those guys started contributing more and more.
Well, they know their roles now. They know their roles. Yeah. They know Garcia knows, hey, I shot 1-3. I shouldn't be doing this thing. I made it. It's great. But he's a rebounder. He's a hustler, takes the charges. Solo, love his athletic. He's so athletic. He's almost like Garcia last night, getting in there, getting the rebounds. But I mean, everybody knows their roles.
And not just know their roles, but they started to really pick up on the defensive rotations, which I think is the big thing for Buzz. Is if you're going to play, you've got to play on this end of the court, right?
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Look, they play Bama on Saturday, 11 a.m., Reed Arena.
Yeah.
Hopefully for a chance at the SEC championship, but either way, for a chance to move up in the tournament as far as your rankings, right? Your seeds.
Yeah, a lot of that's going to matter once we get in the SEC tournament too. I mean, a loss to Bama is not going to kill us. I mean, as I see us right now, we're at a 7-8 seed right now, probably. I mean, that's just where I see it, just because the beginning of the season was so bad. If they took away the beginning of the season, we'd be a 3 seed, something like that, 3 or 4.
A couple of good things going into this game.
We're ranked 24 in the nation right now.
Yeah, I think Lenardi had us at an 8 seed in the most recent one, right?
4 into 24? What's that? 4 times 5, 6 seed? That's a 6 seed. It's 24. So.
Yeah, so they have a chance to definitely move up from that. 100% that loss to Wofford at home, still going to bite you in the ass, right?
Yeah.
But they've got this game against Alabama. Alabama 1 or 2 in the country. I think they're 2 now.
Yeah.
50-1 in the conference, but they play tonight against Auburn, right?
Yeah.
Look, a win there probably propels you up into maybe a top 4 seed, like 1 through 4 seed.
Possibly, yeah. I can
Maybe.
see that. I mean, because you're going to move up. If you win that game, I can see us being in the top 20 at least. I mean, it's a top 5.
Double bye in the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
Which is also a great thing because, look, one, they played on Tuesday, so they got a longer stretch here between the game for Alabama, a little bit more time to get rested, get ready, get up and rolling, right?
Right.
But then also, it's like last year, they played, in the tournament, and, man, they made a run. But, boy, that takes it out of you because it's, 4 games in 4 days or whatever it was last year, right?
Yeah.
And here now, to get to the finals, you got to do 3 games in 3 days. But 3 games is a whole lot better than 4.
Right.
So all those things are going to help you in the long run, get a little bit more time to sort of recover from there to even into the tournament, obviously, and all that stuff. I think they've positioned themselves very well, especially given what they started off with.
Right.
And I have a feeling that the intensity for this defense will ramp up just even another tick going into the tournament.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah. I'm excited about this basketball team. I'm excited about what they can do.
Yeah, I am too. Love it.
Best record since that team with, who was that?
Who are you talking about?
House,
Davis,
Caruso,
Jones.
and Jones.
Yep.
Which was a pretty darn good team,
Yeah.
right? Best SEC record since that team. Baseball, man, a lot of people down on the baseball team. Look, I ain't worried about it, right? Those guys are going to be fine.
Yeah,
Number one.
it's baseball. You play a lot of games, right?
Ton of games.
But losing to Portland, and who was the other loss to? Lamar. Does that equate to the same thing as losing to Wofford in basketball?
No,
No. What do you mean no? How does
a couple
that
of things. I don't know. Maybe so. But at the end of the day, this baseball season is forever, right? They got plenty of opportunities to get back on the winning ways, and once again, just like the basketball team, there's a lot of folks, a lot of new guys in the mix,
right?
But here's the thing, right? And a lot of the guys that they've been depending on, Moss, Boast, Targash, those guys have been struggling way down from last year, right? Now they're also, missing a couple of guys that have left, right, with big time production. Mm-hmm. Minnick is injured, right? So that he's out.
Right.
So a lot of these guys that they thought that they were going to depend on this year, that were going to be their big time producers, they haven't done it yet.
Right.
Up until last night.
Oh yeah, 23 runs.
23 runs.
7 innings, something like that.
Yeah, 7 innings.
Against Lance Burton's team.
Against Lance Burton's team, but apparently Lance wasn't there. Right?
No, he couldn't make the trip.
Yeah, couldn't do it. So they haven't scored. You remember last year, man? They were just bombing people, especially in innings like 6, 7, 8, 9, right late in the ball game. They were just killing people, and those bats still haven't.
They'll come around.
They will come around.
Yeah.
The thing that worries me more is the starting pitching. Now, they've got guys that've got good stuff, but they got to get more out of their Saturday and Sunday starters right now.
No, I agree.
More innings so that the bullpen isn't taxed as much.
Yeah.
And better performances, to be quite honest with you, right?
Gotcha.
The bullpen, the top end of the bullpen, the first few guys are doing pretty good. Guys like Rudis and Lampkin, guys like that, doing well. But your starters have to start pitching a little further into the games, I think. So one guy that's had a pretty good start to the season is Haas. At shortstop. He's playing, and so that's a good piece to the puzzle. I think some of these other guys that we just talked about are going to start to pick up their bats a little bit, and things will get straightened out.
They got a big series coming up this weekend. It's a big tournament. Is that this weekend?
That's the tournament.
Yep. Texas Tech.
The Shriners Children's College Classic over there at Minute Maid.
Yeah.
Louisville, who's ranked number 14, Rice, and then Tech, who's ranked at 24. So, it should be a fun weekend to watch some Aggie baseball.
Yeah, we should win all those games. No pressure.
Look, I have complete faith that this baseball team is going to be fine, right?
Right.
I'm not too worried about it. Look, they, the other day in Sunday's game, they got the Bluebell magic going.
Yeah.
Bottom of the ninth, scored 3 runs, the whole thing. That was a big part of last year. All the runs in the end of the games and stuff.
Right.
All those things are coming up. New players, all getting used to playing together.
Real quick question for you. Off script.
Yeah.
Who's the best A&M coach right now that we have? Is it Buzz? Is it Slosh? I mean, who do you have the most confidence in?
In the major men's sports?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
if you just had to put them, if you had to rank them, I think Slosh, just in year 2, is already the top dog right now. Just what he did last year and what he's got coming back. I think Buzz is number 2, and then Jimbo, I think, would be number 3. As of right now, that's the way I think.
As of right now, I have Schloss up above Buzz because of the fact that he not only he's obviously coached them last year. He did what he did, but he's also bringing the players in at a higher level of talent in than Buzz right now. Buzz is still his recruiting classes aren't elite recruiting classes.
Mainly transfers.
A lot of transfers.
3 stars and transfer. Yeah. And that's the thing. I think Buzz gets more out of his players than
he does. I think he
that's the problem with Jimbo. Jimbo gets the recruiting classes,
right?
Doesn't do anything with it.
So I'll say this: there's a lot of reasons to be excited about Aggie sports, men's sports specifically, the big 3, right? I mean, they've got guys there. The talent on the football field is ridiculous. I think Buzz is proven as what he can do as a coach and what he does with talent. And then Schloss, 1 year in, I mean, how much more can you ask than 1 year, 1 World Series, right?
Think there's a chance we lose Buzz?
No.
I mean, look at a team like North Carolina. Buzz had North Carolina's talent. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have that. I mean, no offense to
but sometimes it doesn't mesh right, too, right? Yeah. Like too much talent. They don't like the hard coaching, right?
That's true.
So sometimes it's like,
I mean, Buzz gets his players. He gets
Billy G when he went to Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes it doesn't mesh right. But Buzz knows the kind of player he wants, and he coaches them up, and those guys seem to buy in quite well.
It's true.
So exciting time in men's sports.
It is.
I think we got a run coming.
What's that mean?
I think we got a run coming. It means a run in this tournament. I think we got a run in the baseball season. Everybody watch out.
And then the spring game.
And, we'll see. All right. We're going to talk a little football. But first,
let's do it.
DraftKings.
Oh, yeah.
The action never ends at DraftKings Sportsbook, especially this summer. The tons of ways to bet on all favorite sports. You can fuel your fandom and feel the heat of the season like never before. Plus, right now, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving new customers a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's right. Make your first bet up to $1,000. And if it doesn't win, you'll get another shot to cash in. You can throw down all the major action for baseball, golf, MMA, more, cricket.
Bandy, whatever the hell that is.
Plus, with same game parlays, spreads, money lines, over-unders, and props, your betting options feel endless. Corey, I know they're basically endless.
I know you.
Because I try to find every last obscure parlay, teaser that I can possibly put together.
Hey, I got to give you a big win the other night, by the way. Good job.
Hey, brother.
Got to hit a 3-teamer.
Best of all, DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. You can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TPPN. Make your first deposit and get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code TPPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling referral service can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Corey, let's talk a little football.
Let's do it.
This is what we do here. So let's start with some notes. Spring practice starts March the 20th.
Right.
I think this schedule is sort of a Monday, Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday kind of practices, okay?
Gotcha.
They've got 15 practices. The maroon and white game is April the 15th. They got a couple of scrimmages in the middle Practice number 8 is a scrimmage. Practice number 11 is a scrimmage. Look, 13 new players on the field. 10 of those freshmen, the 3 transfers we know about, include freshman wide receiver Tees,
right?
Freshman wide receiver Cottrell, the freshman tight end Platt, big time recruit. Transfer wide receiver Smith from UTEP, running back Owens, already. All these guys already on campus, right?
Right.
3 offensive linemen in Bisonta, Shanahan, and Thomason. For the defense, cornerback Thomas, freshman, linebacker Sanford, linebacker York, and the 2 transfers, Grimes and McCall.
Yeah.
13 brand new players. So a lot to be excited about coming up here in a couple of weeks. March the 20th starting. We'll start to see exactly where things are with regards to Bobby Petrino and what he's doing as far as coaching and the playbook and things like that.
Right.
We'll get to see where things are with DJ Durkin and what he's planning on doing going into next season.
Yeah.
Him at linebackers coach and so on and so forth. All right, so a couple of other notes. There was an article on 247. They talk about the best football facilities in the country.
Oh, yeah.
Best football facilities in the country. Now, we know here in Aggie land, there's nothing lacking in the facilities here. We are very proud of our facilities. We love it.
Yeah.
247 Sports agrees with us.
Yeah.
Have us ranked number 2 in the nation.
Just behind
Number 2 in the nation.
Nike.
Right behind Nike.
Yep.
And the folks over there in Oregon. You know, and I drove by the construction the other day. That brand new indoor facility looks legit. I mean, and they're sparing
no expense.
Yeah. That thing is crazy, 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 state of the art, all kinds of stuff. Oregon, I thought it was interesting. They talked about some of their facilities. They got
what?
One, they get free Jordan gear that is not available to the public for the players.
In Oregon?
Yeah, at Oregon.
Nice.
They got Ferrari leather chairs in the locker rooms. I don't know why you need Ferrari leather, but okay. Marble showers. And of course, the required barbershop, which I think is something that the Aggies started.
Sounds like we need like a spa day to Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt.
Seriously.
How good would that be? Let's go get a steam, a little barbershop action.
Joke.
They got a masseuse over there?
Yeah, it sounds like, I bet they did.
I bet you they do. Other teams on the list, I don't think it's going to surprise you that there's who they are. Bama, Clemson, Georgia, LSU, Ohio State, Texas. There's the rest of your top 8. So I think everybody knows who they are. It's the players, people, you spend big, you should get some production, except if you're Texas and A&M. Big recruiting weekend this Saturday. A bunch of recruits coming in. We'll see what kind of news we get after the weekend. See if we can get anybody to go ahead and commit a little bit there.
Will they take them to the Alabama A&M game or what?
Ooh, man, that should be a good one.
A&M wins that one.
That should be a good one. I would take them to that.
There you go.
One of the guys that's coming in is 5-star Georgia linebacker commit Jaden Perlow. Hey, we've been looking at 5-star linebackers, man. We've been trying to get one in here.
Yeah.
Maybe we can steal one from Georgia. What do you think?
I'd say the odds aren't good, but that's my guess.
I'm going to bet one conversation with Kirby Smart and then one conversation with DJ Durkin.
Kirby.
Yeah.
I think I'm not putting my money on that.
Good luck, Aggies. Now here's the other thing though. You get him on campus. You make sure that he sees that we've got a really, really good NIL system. maybe that makes a difference.
Money talks.
Yeah, money talks. Of course, we're saying Aggies are misusing the NIL.
That's another topic.
Another topic for another day.
Yeah.
Hey, Bryce Foster, healthy. He's back at track again. So he participated in the track meet last week, and so apparently
was he hurt last year during track?
He was hurt last year during football.
I know. I'm saying he didn't miss any track time last year, did he?
No, he never does.
That's what I'm saying.
No, never does.
Same priorities.
Yeah. A couple of interesting things that I saw this week. Dave Campbell's Texas Football has come out with some rankings. They're talking about college players in the state of Texas. So players that are playing in colleges in the state of Texas.
Right. So we're talking UTSA, SAM. We're talking we're talking SAM?
Every university, college in the state of Texas is apparently included here. So,
Lamar.
North Texas, Lamar, whatever, right?
Okay, let's go. Let's hear it.
Quarterback rankings for quarterbacks in the state of Texas.
Yes.
All right. Who do you think is ranked number 1?
What's Peyton Manning's kid's name?
Arch?
Arch.
Yeah. No, it's not Peyton's kid, by the way. It's his nephew, but it's not Arch.
Yeah, whatever.
It's a good guess, though.
Yeah. It is?
No.
I didn't think so. I mean, my guess would actually be. I mean, that's not a bad one.
It's not a bad guess. He's not on the list, by the way. Harris at UTSA, who's like a 17th year senior.
Oh, yeah.
Who accounted for 4,600 yards last year.
Yeah.
Number 1.
He just had his first grandbaby.
Yeah, it was a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
All over,
it's doing well.
all over Facebook or whatever they do now. So UTSA.
Yeah.
I want you to remember that for later.
UTSA, number 1 quarterback.
Number 2, they've got Ewers at Texas, not Arch. So
I don't even think Ewers will start.
which is interesting because he may not start.
Yeah, I mean, you get Arch Manning there. You're starting Arch Manning, aren't you?
Doesn't look
He's
that
a
way.
Manning.
Ewers has been in college for 2 years. He's been playing for a year. He's got the experience. Maybe.
I don't give a shit. Yeah, Eli and Peyton both started as true freshmen, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't see.
They're going to be talking some mad shit to Arch.
Yeah, they
You
are.
can't even get on the field.
Exactly.
What a bitch.
Can't wait for Monday Night Football.
Amen to that.
Listen to those guys.
So Ewers at Texas is still no Aggie quarterback. How about number 3? Shaw at Texas Tech.
The guy that was hurt last year.
Yeah, he had
Yeah. And that's an offensive system.
some
That's
decent
a
numbers when he
throwing
played.
system. He's in.
Yeah.
He's in a passing.
I
I
think-
think guy from where's that school that threw it all over the place? At Western Kentucky.
Yeah, that's their offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So his numbers may be better than anybody else's at the end of the year, by the way.
Yeah.
If he stays healthy.
Does that mean you're a good quarterback? Your numbers are good.
Not necessarily.
Just system?
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Connor's number 4, though. Connor's number 4. So, I mean,
Might be a little hot for me right now.
yeah.
Because expectations, you get him down. That way he has something to shoot for. You put him number 1. You know. I mean,
We
he
saw
only
other
played-
rankings for the SEC quarterbacks, and he was like number 10. So
Love it. I absolutely love it. Expectation, keep them down. Look at last year. We're number 6 in the nation starting out. We sucked.
I'll tell you this: I do expect that Connor's going to outperform all expectations. this
Yeah,
year.
he's going to be
If
better
those are
than-
the expectations, right?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think he'll be better than the 10th best quarterback in the SEC.
Now, mind you, Aggie expectations are that he's going to go win a Heisman, so maybe he doesn't quite meet those.
I'm right there with him.
All right, let's move on to running backs.
All right.
Running backs, Wheaton at SMU is number 9.
Who?
And the reason I start at number 9 is because I'm going to give you a couple names. Wheaton at SMU,
Okay.
Pare at Texas State, Hankins at UTEP, Brooks at Texas, Adayi at North Texas, Barnes at UTSA, McCaskill at U of H, Brooks at Tech, Reese at Baylor, who's number 1. Amari Daniels is after all of those guys at number 10.
And who was UTSA had number 4?
UTSA had number 4. Now, but more importantly, the tailback that people, I guess, this magazine
Danielson. That sounds about right. We thought
expects to have the leading Texas A&M tailback. Not as good as the guy at SMU. Not as good as the guy at Texas State.
UTEP.
Not as good as the guy at UTEP
North Texas.
or North Texas.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of problem with these rankings.
Right.
But, end of the year will show exactly where things are at.
I got you.
Wide receivers.
Yep.
And now,
Number 1
Franklin at UTSA,
is number what?
number 1.
Okay. The UTSA's got top quarterback, top wide receiver, and the number 4 running back.
They better be pretty darn good.
They might win the SEC next year. I mean, geez, that's what I'm hearing.
That's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Worthy at Texas is 2. Stewart at A&M is 3.
Stewart?
They got Stewart at 3, Anais at 4.
Moose at 5.
Cephas at UTSA at 5. So UTSA's got 2 in the top 5.
That offense will be clicking this year.
Take the over.
Over.
Take the over.
Right now.
McCaffrey at Rice, Bradley at Tech. Smith for A&M is in there.
Who?
Tywin Smith, the UTEP transfer.
Oh.
He's in there as the
I was
third
thinking
A&M
that.
wide receiver.
What?
Moose Honorable mention.
What?
I have a feeling that Moose is going to be on the field a lot more than the Smith kid.
That's ridiculous.
We'll see.
All right.
But that's
All right.
that is
What other positions you got? Anything?
yeah, Texas football. Now, so far, that's it.
No tight end?
Yeah, tight end. My bad. Tight end.
Yeah.
Green was number 2.
Green was number 2.
Behind the
UTSA
Texas. The Texas. No. Behind the Texas tight end. So that was interesting. Another interesting article by 247.
It is.
One of them, there's an article that talks about transfers and how effective transfers are and all this stuff. And they were talking about A&M specifically and their lack of usage of the transfer portal.
Yeah.
And their argument was you need to take more offensive linemen and linebackers. Now, let's talk about this because we've talked about this before. We do agree that they need more linebackers just because they need bodies.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, we need talented players. I mean, bodies is one thing. I want to see good linebacker play. I mean, I want to see some 4-star guys, 3 stars that we can improve.
Sure.
But not just put somebody on the field just to plug up a gap and get beat every play.
Yeah, but sometimes you need practice bodies too.
Yeah, that's true.
And all their information is based off of a Bill Connolly article on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
But then they go further into the offensive line thing. And here's my thing. That to me is a group of people that do not know this roster very well. Because if you look at the Aggie roster, they don't need offensive linemen. They got plenty of quality offensive linemen, all 5 starters returning from the end of last year. Mm-hmm. They probably got 9 different guys that started a game last year on campus. They've got freshmen coming in. Like, they've got plenty of offensive linemen that are talented, that have
talent,
size, all those things. They just need to be better coached, right?
Right.
Don't bring in another offensive lineman in here and just poorly coach it, right?
No.
Doesn't do you any good. It ain't going to change the equation. They got the players. Those guys didn't leave. They're coming back. Coach them up.
All you got to do?
That's it.
That's it. Easy. But
and they go into another piece of, and this is going to transition into a coach talk.
Yeah.
They go into what A&M needs to do to fix the program, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of things that need to happen there, obviously. But I don't think we're that far away, number one. We've talked about this. But they always focus on the players in this thing. Quarterback was one of their big focuses.
Talent's not an issue.
I don't think it's talent.
No.
And they talk about offensive line and linebacker play, which we just talked about. They've got those too. Linebacker, they still need some depth. But to me, where they missed the boat is they just need better coaching.
Exactly. We said that all last year.
Look, and so now let's get into our topic for today, because it's been out there that Jimbo has rearranged the staff, specifically the offensive staff again. So in going into the 22 season, from 21 to 22, he took and he moved some guys around. He made Craig the quarterback coach, right?
Yeah.
He took, let's see.
Well, Craig came from where to be quarterback coach?
So he was the receivers coach.
But he was in college. Craig was a quarterback.
Yes.
Correct?
So Craig was a quarterback. But he was the receivers coach. He moved him to quarterbacks coach.
Right.
Cooley, he took from tight ends and put him out to receivers.
Okay.
Right? Dickey, he moved from the OC quarterbacks coach over to the tight ends.
So he's no longer
and then he hired Adazio
Is
as
Dickey
offensive
still
line
with
coach.
us?
Dickey's gone.
Okay.
So now, all that was last year. Now, instead of Fisher Dickey OC, Fisher Dickey Cooley OC, right?
Yeah.
We bring in Petrino.
Absolutely.
Petrino takes the quarterback coach job also. All right. So what do?
How is that, man? That's crazy.
Yeah. So now Petrino's the quarterback
Jimbo
coach.
His head's just. Oh, okay.
They replaced the running back coach, the one coach that was actually successful the last few years. They get rid of him and replace him with Blackwell, the guy from
Genius. Love it.
Ole Miss.
Love it.
They take Craig, move him back to wide receivers.
Yep.
It's like, well, he obviously didn't do a good job at quarterback coach. Let's move him back.
Yeah, that was the quarterback's head problem.
Adazio's still there at the offensive line, and they take Cooley back to push him back to tight ends. So all of this movement with this offensive coaching staff, why'd they make the changes a year ago, which obviously didn't work, right? They've basically gone back to the old staff, except they took Petrino and stuck him at the OC spot, right?
Since Jimbo's got here, it's been the same problem. It's been his play calling. So we don't know what it's going to be like moving forward with Petrino calling plays. So he's trying to put the blame somewhere else. It's like, hey, don't look at me, but he's the head coach. You got to look at him. He's the one that changed Craig, a quarterback, to a wide receivers coach, wide receiver back to, quarterback coach. Capodazio, the offensive line was terrible last year. Jimbo didn't seem to care about it. But that's what he does. He puts people in their place, but he doesn't oversee them. He's not doing a good job overseeing the coaches.
So a couple of things. And look, I've been a part of staffs just like this, where it shifting guys around, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And these guys, Craig, Cooley, right? Those guys are just Jimbo Pawns.
Right.
That's why he can do whatever he wants with them. He's just going to push them here, put them there.
Yeah.
Because those guys are just Jimbo Pawns.
Right.
From the day they got hired, they've been nothing but Jimbo Pawns. All right?
Yeah.
That's where those guys are so you can do whatever you want to.
Like henchmen. I got you. Yeah.
If he says it, they say yes.
Yeah.
All right? Maybe now they're Petrino Pawns. I don't know.
Yeah.
The key to this offensive coaching staff is in two guys. And I'm going to add a third, but two guys. And that is Petrino calling the plays, right? Mm-hmm. And Adazio coaching the O-line.
That's a lot.
Because Adazio was horrible last year.
Well,
that offensive line was horrible last year.
But it's a lot of, like we said, the offensive line, but the play calling was terrible last year.
Yeah.
We saw it over and over.
It was.
It's obvious what kind of play Jimbo was going to run, and defenses knew it. And you could see them stacking the line when they knew it was going to be a running play. You could see the blitz coming because they weren't in protection. I mean, Dazio can only coach them so well.
Yes, but at the same time, you see,
but it has to work.
You see those guys that when you watch them do combo blocks in the interior, the guard, and the center. Yeah. They just don't do a good job of passing things on or keeping their eyes up and seeing the next level. That's coaching.
Right.
When you look at the combo blocks with the offensive guard and the tackles, same thing, same problems, right? That's where they had issues. It wasn't in one-on-one blocking as much.
I thought it got better towards the end of the season, though. Did it not?
It did when Dewberry came on the field, right?
Yeah.
It did. So it did improve some, but they're still not they're not technically proficient, let's just say.
So what you just said about the coaching job, so Jimbo didn't give himself a title, just head coach. That's it.
That's it.
Okay.
So when I look at this group, I think Adazio has to do a much better job. Now, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, that they hired Jim Chaney as an off-field analyst.
Right.
Well, Jim Chaney is by trade an offensive line coach, by the way. He started up and came up through the offensive line.
Yeah.
So maybe adding him to help Adazio some, the idea is to try to get that group much better coached. Right?
I think you can have too many coaches.
Yes, I think you can have too many coaches.
One guy's telling you one thing, and another guy's telling you something else, and your head's like.
In this case, though, with Chaney being an analyst, he's not going to be an on-field coach.
Yeah.
I think it's clearly he's taken he's sort of the assistant in this situation, right? I think there's so many bodies on the offensive line. It's good to have another guy there anyway.
Yeah.
Offensive line is what I coached, right?
Yeah.
So. You can have two guys, and the key is that we are on the same page. So that's going to be a big piece,
right?
That they're on the same page.
Yeah.
But they have to bring the minds together because ultimately, technically, as a technician, each and every one of those guys has to be better,
right? And
that's coaching, right? So I think that's that second coach. We talked about Petrino, and. Here's the thing. Obviously, clearly, a new offensive coordinator is going to make a huge difference, right? That's not. I'm not saying anything that's groundbreaking, right?
No, it's something we've been talking about for a while.
His play calling, his simplified system, all those things are going to be a benefit to all positions on the offense. The problem that could present itself, and this is going to be the interesting part to watch, is what happens if there's struggles early.
You think Jimbo's going to point fingers?
What happens if there's struggles at any time in the
how is Jimbo going to handle a press conference when they ask him a question? Jimbo, what's this play call? Jimbo goes, I wouldn't have called that if I was play calling. You think he'll say that?
I don't think so. I don't think so. That's not the Jimbo thing to do. He'll definitely put it on the players. He'll definitely not the players.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see, though, right? How does that react? Not only that, is he now interfering with the play calling? Is he now, in the meetings?
Quick, I don't want to break your train of thought. Auburn's up 40-33 at half.
There you go.
40-33, halftime.
With a chance for an SEC championship.
There you go.
All right. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What happens when there's a little bit of turmoil? Is Jimbo going to stay out of the mix? Is he going to let him just do his thing? Continue to let him do his thing? Or is the first thing he's going to do is get in there and say, no, we got to change this, we got to change this, we got to change this? Because I think that dynamic with two guys that are used to having their ways, right? Jimbo and Petrino.
I thought it was in Petrino's contract that he was calling plays. If he was the
That's not in his contract.
That's in his contract.
No, it's not in his contract.
He's
Listen,
the head coach.
If that dynamic gets sideways, we're looking at 5-7 again.
That's what everybody's waiting for to happen. That's what everybody's been talking about. That's what they're waiting for to happen. Is Jimbo and Petrino butting heads. Then it's chaos. Then Jimbo's people are going to be losing jobs.
Another 5-7 season, and
Jimbo's gone.
There's at least some serious consideration.
Yeah, they'll put money together to buy him out.
Look, that to me is the biggest thing with this offensive staff. I mean, once again, I do think that.
Yeah.
Now, here's the caveat, because I actually believe this offense is going to be substantially better.
Yep.
I do. I think the playmakers are there. I think that Petrino, his system is a much better system than what Jimbo brought in last year. I think that he simplifies things for the players and the coaches. So to me, I think you're going to get a ton more production offensively, and it's going to be hard for Jimbo to be in there and complaining about it. Now,
I see what you're saying.
If the defense is worse and there's critical situations, that could be where Jimbo gets involved, right?
As long as the offense is better, I think the team will be better. I don't expect a big drop off on the defense. Yeah, we lost some talent, but we have a lot of talent returning. The problem is, when you said talent, we had talent last year on offense.
Sure.
A lot of talent. We were excited about the O-line going into the season.
Like I said,
excited. We talked about
the new system. The new system.
We were excited about the quarterback.
Let those guys play.
We were excited about the wide receivers last year.
Yeah.
We were excited about the A-chain return. It went to shit quick.
Ooh, real quick.
And so what I'm saying is, Jimbo, he's trying to fix these excuses, which I understand that.
Yeah.
But all he's doing, I think he's putting Band-Aids on them for a little bit. He's like, oh, I'm going to put Petrino here. I'm going to put Cooley, move him here. It doesn't. Jimbo should know by now what his staff is and what to do.
Look,
that's what's bothering me.
The thing that bothers me is that they.
It's year what, 5 or 6 now?
They bring in a guy like Chaney as now. They bring in, Cooley's a guy that's been in the same similar type of system for a long time, right? Craig definitely has been in the same kind of system forever because he's a Jimbo guy, right? All these guys are of the same sort of mindset, right? Like you want to usually have you don't want it to be counter, productive,
right?
But you want guys that bring new ideas. You know what I mean? Of course. And they don't. That's not how Jimbo hires.
Well,
but
Petrino's not bringing I guess he's bringing new ideas, but it's a system everybody's seen in the past. Does that make sense? It's something everybody's already seen.
Having said all that, I still think this offense is going to be substantially better.
It's got to be.
It can't be worse.
Exactly. I mean, how can you be worse? I think we can turn the ball over more, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
Thank you for jinxing that one.
4-8.
Great job.
Yep.
All right. So offensively, that's where things stand. It really is all about Petrino and Jimbo's relationship. We'll see how that plays out.
It's going to be exciting to watch.
It'll be fun to watch.
Yep.
It'll be fun to watch. Defensively, not as many changes. Durkin's moving to linebackers, and then they hired the new safeties coach.
Yeah.
New safeties
like
coach.
I said, it's not really broken. Don't fix it. I mean, the defense played well. The linebackers suck, but the defensive scheme sucked. So if Durkin's still calling the plays, the scheme is still going to suck. Same thing we said about Jimbo for years. He kept calling the plays.
Right. They never changed.
Exactly. So is Durkin calling the plays on defense?
Gross Sarmientos is the new safeties coach that they promoted to an on-field role.
So is Jimbo going to have more of a say in the defense now?
So I do think that that's an interesting question because Now that he doesn't have to be hovering over the quarterback 24/7,
Who is he going to hover around now?
he should
In the box upstairs.
make his way back and forth on the practice field and spend time with all positions.
We'll see a lot in the spring game. Where is he at in the spring game?
We will.
Whose ear is he in the whole time? Is he talking to Wegman the whole time? Or?
Not only that, but remember that early practice in the fall where they allow us to show up and go to the practices.
Yeah,
we'll see it there too. But that's the question. Will he now focus and take his attention off of just the quarterback?
It's going to be hard for him to do.
It's a change
Old dog, new tricks.
Entire career as a coach.
Ain't happening.
So that's going to be the interesting part. Mm-hmm. Defensively, though, does Durkin go on the linebackers? Is that going to help the linebackers? Look, Santucci was not good. He's the defensive coordinator at Duke.
Must have done something right.
He's one of Elko's boys.
Hey, Elko's a good defensive coach.
Yeah, and Elko is going to keep him in line.
Would you rather have Elko or Durkin? Elko.
That's not a question.
Elko knows something.
Santucci was not good with those linebackers. I don't know if it was him and Durkin's system. I don't know what it was. He was not good with those linebackers last year.
They ran a three-man front with
it
two
didn't
linebackers.
Matter. But the linebackers didn't get better.
The offensive line's getting up on the linebackers.
Sure. Linebackers did not play any better than they did the year before.
I'm telling you. It wasn't a talent
Same
issue. We
guys,
did not have a talent
no
issue.
improvement.
It was a coaching issue. Starting with the scheme.
Starting with the scheme, sure.
Yeah,
but the linebacker coach also was not doing his job. Linebacker coach was also not doing his job.
Talk about day one, I'm telling you.
So,
I'm not saying he didn't do his job.
I'm saying he didn't.
It's just hard to do your job when you're handcuffed.
How long have Cooper and White been on the team?
They weren't on the damn field together that much last year.
Cooper and White have been on this campus for like 3 years apiece at least. White 4.
Yeah.
Going into last year, right?
Right.
And so my point is this. Those guys weren't any better last year than they were the year before. They might have gone worse. Last year. They were worse.
How much did White play last year?
He played.
Not much.
Because he was worse.
He wasn't worse.
That's coaching. You don't get a player and make him worse.
He was getting better.
Not last year. That's my point.
He was my most improved player going into last year. I said it on the podcast.
Yeah, you did.
I'll stand up for that.
So Durkin at linebackers coach can't be worse than Santucci. It is his system. He should be more proficient with those linebackers.
Maybe that's the problem they had. They weren't communicating. Maybe Durkin's not a good communicator.
That's probably true. He's over there on the sidelines with the chicken grid.
Yeah, got it. All right.
Now you've got Cooper and Russell coming back. Those guys have got to take a step forward because they are the only two linebackers that spent any time playing that are still on this team.
Those guys are going to get a lot of PT this year.
Lots.
A lot of time.
Some of those young guys maybe get in there, but they don't have any experience, right?
No.
That's going to be the biggest thing. What does the secondary do, losing the secondary, moving Durkin out of the secondaries coach and then adding this young guy? What happens to the secondary? Do we lose something there for the safeties? Are the safeties going to still be a strength for this team?
I think the D-line's going to step up, get more pressure. I think that you have to realize that. Where's your talent at? It's in the D-line, right? Your most talent's in the D-line. You get pressure.
Let's make sure we keep them on the sideline.
Once you get pressure on the quarterback, that's when they make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
They make mistakes. But
absolutely.
So it's going to make up for mistakes that you have, the limitations you have in the
Robinson and Price in the D-line, I think, are the two best coaches on this defense. I don't think it's even close, right? Those guys are solid. They recruit, they coach, everything.
They have the players' respect, evidently, because those guys are coming here left and right.
Clearly. And so to me, those guys are the top of the line when it comes to this defense.
Yeah.
Now the question is, will Durkin allow those guys to get those guys on the field? Their men on the field. Can we get the defensive linemen 4, 5 deep on the field all at once? That's what I want to see.
Those coaches need to talk to Durkin and grab him because those are big sons of guns. And be like, hey, we're not running a 3-man front.
Just tell him he can't come to the barbecue if you
exactly.
get your ass done. And I think those are the things that we're going to have to see, and we'll see some of that in the spring here coming up in a couple of weeks. So it is interesting, the changes on the coaching staff. It is interesting to see some of the movement. I think there's a couple of key guys. And I've been around a lot of coaching staff. That's usually the way it goes.
Gotcha. What you got?
I just want to hit on this pretty quickly. There was an article on ESPN that talked about Fisher the other day. Mark Schlabach said that Texas A&M isn't paying Fisher $95 million to lose 4 games or more, but that's exactly what he's done in 4 of his 5 seasons. The Aggies went 9-1 in 2020 season, which was impacted by COVID, and they've got basically nothing else to show for it. Texas A&M is 17-9 the past 2 seasons combined. Fisher's teams are 23-18 against SEC competition during his tenure. Few FBS schools have spent more on coaching staff, facilities than the Aggies, and their collectives are doling out more money than NIL packages than to recruits than just about anyone else. What do they have to show for it? They had locker room issues last year. It looked like Fisher's tenure at Florida State, which was a disaster. Now he brings in Bob Petrino to fix the offense. After several high-profile candidates turned down the job, the moves reek of desperation. That's not a great endorsement for Mr. Fisher.
No, it's not, but I think a lot of it's true. I mean, the stats, you can't argue with those stats. We say 23-18 in the SEC.
Yeah,
and that's not what we signed up for. He told us when he came in here he was here to win championships, and he hasn't. I mean, he's competed for one in the SEC championship, and that was.
It's overly dramatic the way he writes it. Right, he's intensifying some of the things.
It is. That's what people.
That's what he's getting.
Yeah.
He's going to get some clicks and all that.
That's why people like us. We're not dramatic.
No. But you're right. Some of the things he's saying are on point in the sense that he's got no excuse. He's got no excuse. So we'll see. Has he fixed anything from last year to this year? We'll see. We'll find out real quick this year. It's going to be interesting. Chris Lowe, who also commented on the whole thing, said that they need a similar run in 23 to 2020, or the heat's going to turn up considerably on Fisher, regardless of how many millions he would be owed if Texas A&M were to fire him.
The heat got turned up last year.
I really believe that they're still a year away from firing Fisher.
Oh, I mean, so if he has a 4-8 year this year, you don't.
Let's call it 5-7 because I don't think it's going to be worse than last year.
All right, 5-7. You don't.
If he goes, I think he's got one more year
after that.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It's still going to be 70 some odd million to get rid of him.
I don't give a shit.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
You made your bed.
All right.
Sleeping in it. Now you got to burn the bed.
Burn that sucker. Questions from the tailgate brought to you by David Coffin PLLC, tax controversy and litigation lawyers, smart solutions for federal tax issues, experienced, respected representation for taxpayers, over 20 years of experience in tax controversy with offices located in Southlake, Texas, and now opening in Bryan College Station. Call 817-251-7049. All right, first question.
Do it.
Which one of these newcomers for this spring is going to have the biggest impact?
Newcomers for the spring to have the impact.
Remember, we talked about them earlier. 13 newcomers.
I know. I'm trying
10
to think.
freshmen, 3 transfers.
I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to say Owens, the running back.
Ooh, I love it. Love it.
Because the wide receivers, there's too many of them over there. I think to get in Grimes, it's hard to make an impact as a defensive back right off the bat. I think running back, you get the ball, you have one big play, you make an impact, right?
Yeah, I also think that, look, I think most people would answer this with Grimes, by the way. I think everybody believes he's your second starting quarterback. And,
I believe that too. But
I don't think he is.
No.
I think he's still going to have to fight for that position. He was, third team all ACC or whatever.
Yeah.
But here's what I know. That North Carolina defense was horrendous. Horrendous.
I'm not saying the guy's not talented. He might have been in a bad scheme.
Maybe.
I mean, he might have had a bad defensive line, not getting any pressure. How long can you expect to cover a guy?
Probably.
I'm just saying there's a lot of factors.
Sure, there is. I agree.
He's a 5-star coming in. He was a third team all ACC.
Sure.
You're wrong again.
I don't expect him to start. I expect him to be in the rotation. So I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb here.
And
I'm going to go with the linebacker, York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stand-up linebacker.
He's going to get some playing time.
And I think he's going to have an opportunity to get himself on the field and show out, right?
With nobody else in
the rotation.
Yeah, there's nobody else there, so he's going to get playing time.
That's where I'm going to go. I think he may have the biggest impact out of all those guys.
Well,
I don't think it's going to be Grimes, honestly. At least in the spring.
Yeah.
And I do think he gets in the rotation. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think he's that starter from day one.
Yeah.
All right. Question 2: where do you see the Aggies getting seated? By the way, Lenardi had them as an 8.
Well, we talked about it earlier. Auburn's beating Alabama right now. If we beat Alabama, finish first in the SEC, it's going to be hard to keep a first place team in the SEC out of the top 4 or 5. Out of the top 4 or 5.
If
now,
if you can beat Alabama, I think you're a top 4 seed.
Yeah. Now, if we don't beat Alabama and we lose the second game or first game of the SEC tournament, 7, 6, 7. I don't see anything less than 7.
Really?
Yeah, I think 8's way too low.
If we lose our next 2 games, you're still saying 7?
Yeah.
What
did we put us 22 and 10?
22 and 10.
Yeah. Because they have Kentucky at an 8 seed right now. We're better than them, aren't we?
I really believe that you can go down to an 8 seed. You can go down to an 8 seed. I think you can definitely go down to an 8 seed.
32, 36 teams? You're better than those guys.
And not because they don't deserve to be higher, but just because this Aggie program just doesn't get the respect, right?
That's true.
And so I do believe that they'll be pushed down a little bit.
Yeah.
Once again, though, you beat Alabama.
Yeah.
I think you got a shot at a 4.
Right.
You got a shot at a 4, and deserving of a 4, maybe even a 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's seeding, man. That's scary because if you're at 8, 9, you're playing a 9 seed the first round, right?
Yeah, that means you're going to a 1 seed.
A 1 seed.
Correct.
You don't want that.
That's what you want to avoid.
I mean, you'll be playing either Alabama, Purdue, Houston.
And they had us in the Houston bracket at 8. Now,
I mean, we match up with Houston. They're good. They're really good. But we match up with them. We match up with anybody.
I would take that.
Alabama's going to be our toughest matchup just because we're so long. But now Solo's playing well, Garcia. I mean, we match up with those long bodies.
Yeah.
You know? And plus we bang with Marble and Coleman.
It's a little bit more athleticism in the
and we're shooting, and when we're shooting the ball, that's our biggest thing. If we're hitting our shots, if everybody knows their roles and does their roles, Wade, Radford taking the ball the hole, Wade shooting a 3.
You know what's crazy to me is in past years it's always about, they always had teams in that, like, what have they done lately, right? Oh, they went on a hell of a run at the end of the season. This is unbelievable, right?
No team's hotter than A&M right now.
That's my point.
No team's hotter. What happened last year? We were hot as shit last year in the season.
And it doesn't get the same respect as it does at other places, right? Like Carolina, they're saying Carolina right now on the bubble, but hey, they've won all these games. Now, they got to play Duke this weekend, right?
Yeah.
But they've had a good last few games.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to put them in.
They beat a bunch of crappy teams. They beat Florida State sucked. I mean, they beat – who was the other team that sucked? They beat somebody else that sucked. I mean, it didn't matter. They beat Virginia. That's one good win. That's our first quad win of the season.
Impressive.
And screw Carolina.
And they're going to get in.
Screw.
Giga Maggies.
Go Auburn.
Corey.
Let's go Auburn tonight.
From the tailgate.
Auburn.